In this video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know before your very first violin lesson so you can walk in confident and prepared. If we haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher. I've been playing the violin practically my whole life, and I've been teaching for a little over 12 years now. Most of my students are, and I've had my fair share of very first lessons starting from scratch. If you've decided to start taking violin lessons, congratulations. That is definitely not a small decision. Playing the violin is such a wonderful experience, but it can be challenging. So having someone who's there to guide you, support you, and cheer you on is going to make the journey 10 times easier. If you want to take violin lessons but you haven't found the right teacher yet, you can apply to work with me through the link in the description. I've taught students as young as 2 years old and all the way up to 80, all online by the way, and have had so much success. One of the biggest misconceptions when starting to take violin lessons is that you need to have some prior musical experience, which is absolutely not true. You don't need to know how to read music, you don't need to know anything about music theory, you don't need perfect pitch, and you don't need to have played another instrument. Your very first violin lesson is designed for complete beginners, and a good teacher will walk you through everything step by step. Your job is not to be prepared musically. Your job is just to be ready and willing to learn. Most often, it is helpful to have a violin before your very first lesson. If you're thinking about taking lessons but you don't even know where to start when it comes to purchasing an instrument, you can, of course, ask your future teacher or check out my video where I give my top violin recommendations for beginners. I'll leave that linked in the description as well. Long story short, please do not buy from Amazon. Amazon violins are what we in the community call VSOs, or violin-shaped objects. Sure, they look like a violin, but they don't really sound that great. Additionally, a lot of times they don't come set up, which is adding more stress to you as the beginner because you don't know how to set violins up, right? And they can be really difficult to tune, which can be really frustrating. Of course, if that's all you're able to afford at the moment, then a VSO is better than no violin at all. But I highly recommend getting one from either a local shop or a more reputable online violin source. Many shops offer rent-to-own programs, so you can rent the instrument out. It's obviously going to be lower cost and lower commitment at first. Most adults need a 4/4 size violin, which is a full-size violin. If you are very short, like under 5 feet, you can also look for either a 7/8 violin or a 3/4 violin. 7/8 violin is going to be a little bit better because it's going to be bigger and sound better, but it's a little bit harder to find. Typically, you'll need a violin outfit, which consists of a violin, a bow, and a case. Many of the violin outfits also come with accessories, but really the only two that are absolutely necessary are shoulder rests and rosin. Besides the violin outfit, the only other things that you should really need to purchase before your first lesson are the books that your teacher tells you to get. Some teachers won't tell you to buy anything, some teachers will tell you to buy a bunch of different books. So again, it's best to consult with them and ask what materials you need to have ready. It's also very helpful to have a notebook and write your notes and your practice assignments from your lessons in it. So that's it. That's all the gear that you need. You need your violin outfit, which is your violin, bow, and case, rosin, a shoulder rest, whatever music your teacher tells you to get, and a notebook to take some notes. You may also consider purchasing a stand so that you can put your music on it when you practice. And you'll also likely need a tuner, but you can find that for free online or on various apps. If you're totally confused and overwhelmed by all of the violin gear out there, check out my video that I did on the gear that you actually need as a beginner. It's linked in the description. So what actually happens in your first violin lesson? Many students think that they are just going to dive right into playing songs, which a lot of times is not the case. The first lesson should really focus on building a foundation that will serve you for the rest of your violin career. Of course, you need to learn how to hold the bow, how to hold the violin. You'll also learn about instrument care, how to store the instrument, how to apply rosin, how to tighten and loosen the bow, how to clean the instrument, and how to tune the instrument. It's likely that you'll play some open strings and perhaps even a couple of finger notes as well. And yes, it's probably not going to sound as beautiful as you would hope on the first try. That's totally okay and totally normal. The scratches, the squeaks, yes, they can be annoying, but they're all a part of the process. Probably the most important thing to understand about your very first violin lesson is that it will feel weird. It will feel awkward. Playing the violin is not a natural thing at all, and you're going to be learning so many new things. You're going to be learning the bow grip, how to hold the violin, new finger movements, and likely employing muscles that you don't really use in everyday life. Coordination is also a big thing in violin playing, which can be very difficult at first too. Do not judge your potential on your very first lesson. Everyone sounds like a beginner in the beginning. Please do not compare yourself to others. Although it can be so amazing and inspiring to watch others play on YouTube, it can also be really easy to compare yourself. But don't forget, you're comparing your first week to somebody else 20th, 25th, 30th year and beyond. I myself have been playing for 25 years, if that gives you any frame of reference. Every advanced player starts exactly where you are now. Progress is gradual, but it adds up. So what should you bring to your first lesson? So you should bring your violin, your bow, your shoulder rest, your rosin, whatever music your teacher has given you, and a notebook to take notes. You should also bring a positive attitude and a willingness to learn. It's also a good idea to come prepared with any questions that you have for your teacher right off the bat. Here are some examples of things that you might ask. So first is, how much should I practice between lessons? When it comes to practice, consistency is key. It's better that you are practicing for shorter periods of time more consistently than longer periods of time sporadically. For a complete beginner, 10 to 15 minutes per day is really all you need. Another thing you should definitely share with your teacher is your goals. It's likely that you guys already discussed this, but if not, if you have any particular pieces or styles of music that you want to learn, definitely let them know. Finally, you want to be sure to ask your teacher what you should practice or what you should focus on this week. I love giving my students clear assignments, especially at the beginning. An example of a homework assignment from me from our first lesson might be do 10 bow holds every day, 10 violin holds every day, and practice bowing on open strings between 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate and don't be shy to ask your teacher. Remember, they're there to help you. If you're nervous about your very first violin lesson, that's completely normal and understandable. You don't need talent, experience, or perfect preparation. You just need curiosity, perseverance, patience, and the willingness to keep showing up. Often, the first step is the hardest. If you're looking for a supportive and encouraging teacher to get you started on your violin journey, you can apply to work with me via the description below. I also have a free community filled with adult learners where I share more tips and tricks there as well. If you have any questions about what to expect in your very first violin lesson, drop a comment and be sure you're subscribed before we go.